I was always interested in being able to work with stone at some point in the future, although I'd been to sea for a long time, and when I was in Canada gained lots of inspiration whilst I worked with Native American Indians. They said I'd got the guardian of that a bear was my guardian, basically, which was strange because bears have featured significantly in some of my sculpture work. But anyway, I came back from Canada and went to Weymouth Technical College, where you can learn to be a stone carver or stonemason, and I did that, but I kind of paid for my own way through it with the money that I'd made on the Great Lakes as working as a merchant seaman. And I got a letter early on. I'd written to Henry Moore, and I was chuffed to bits way back in 1984 when I got a letter from him wishing me well with my career, you know, my career choice. So that was good, and I've still got that letter now with his original Henry Moore signature, who's always been one of my sources of inspiration. The work that he's done, the huge, bold stone work, very bold and very, very big stone sculptures set in the English landscape. So I was reading all about these people all the time. Epstein was about my favourite sculptor, and the chap that I related most to, I think. His fantastic piece, Jacob Wrestling with the Angel, which was carved in alabaster on a monolithic scale, is my favourite piece of work of all time. But anyway, I'd done the stone carving at college, a couple of years at that, and I'd had my first commission in 1984 with Lancaster City Council. 1985, I was told about the presence of Josephine de Vasconcelos, who I wrote to, and she was in the middle of a bereavement at the time, but she moved from Little Langdale down to Ambleside. Her husband had died, who was a famous painter, Delmar Banner, and she invited me for, I think it was a sausage sandwich at the local pub, the Red Lion in Ambleside, and we went over, had something to eat, and what I really wanted to do was learn from this fantastic woman's experience, you know. And she took me on in 1985 to be an assistant, really, and an assistant sculptor. But I mainly ended up doing a lot of her stone carving work, roughing out, that type of stuff. And she used to put the finishing touches to it. Or as Rodin used to say, apply her genius to the last inch. So that was great, and I learnt so much about working with plaster of Paris and the old techniques of sculpture, which have gone now, and they don't teach them anymore in art colleges. But it was a sense of, you know, being, a sense of living your dream, you know, working with somebody that had been pupil and assistant to Antoine Bourdelle, who had been pupil and assistant to Rodin. That continuity of expertise was, you know, hard for a comprehensive school lad to get. You know, it was just not easy. I mean, I left school in Morecambe when I was 16 and had to kind of go to Canada to get a reasonable education so that I could move on, really. But all that was character building, I think. But anyway, back to Josephina. We spent many years working in the grounds of Rydal Hall, amongst some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever experienced. Quite a spiritual place, really, as well. And we did great big stone carvings down there. And I guess in reflection, the memorial that I've been carving for Josephina, the Angel Raphael, which I did in 2006, started it on and off between jobs, which is now completed, stands there in the place where we both worked, and whilst I was carving it, I felt a great presence of her spirituality or soul or something in that particular area. It's called the Peace Garden, which you can feel as soon as you walk into the garden itself. The big piece that she finished, which was a commission for the inshore lifeboat at Millom, was carved there. And there wasn't just me involved in the work there, there was other assistants that came to learn from her. And she guided everybody, and together we produced the work which now stands at Millom on the seashore. She had a great connection with the town Millom, and I love to work in the natural stones of the Lake District, the Shap granite, the slate, Kirkstone slate, the Elterwater slate, and I carved pieces all over the South Lakes, and I now kind of operate with my colleague Gordon Greaves Slate Limited at Troutbeck Bridge. He lets me have space there where I work on big carvings and sculpture. So there's been a great progression, but I'll maybe tell you about individual sculptures at length later, but I hope that starts to paint a picture of the sort of early days, really.